Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to August. This is Gwendolyn. Welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time here, welcome. I just want to thank all of my new subscribers as well as my long-term subscribers. I really enjoy making these videos, and I'm glad if you enjoy the readings as well. So, looking at August, we're right in the middle of eclipse season. We had a partial solar eclipse on July 12th in Cancer, and then we had a total lunar eclipse July 27th in Aquarius in your sign. That may have brought up some feelings to the surface that may needed releasing or brought about the end of an old emotional cycle. And then we have a new moon in Leo on August 11th, which is your 7th house, Aquarius. So that's the 7th house is the house of partnerships. It's the house of the other, whoever that other person is, whether it's a romantic partnership or business partnership or, you know, anything where it's yourself and the other person. That's 7th house rules relationships, partnerships, the other person in your life. And it could be multiple people, you know, it could be a family member, just whoever you identify as the other. So with that being a partial solar eclipse in your 7th house, it's identifying and bringing to the surface some shadow aspects of maybe how you approach partnerships or perhaps a blind spot within your current partnership. Eclipses have the effect of taking what's usually below the surface, the subconscious or the unconscious, and bringing it above the conscious mind. So we get to see our shadow sides are illuminated, our blind spots are illuminated. So there may be some blind spots or areas within your partnership or approach to partnerships that you get some insights on or some aha moments on during this new moon partial solar eclipse in Leo in your 7th house of partnerships. And the function of that is to identify those blind spots and maybe begin a new way of doing things, a new adjustment. One of the things that came up in the Capricorn reading was the words course correction. So when we can see our blind spots, then we can do something about it. You know, if we see that we have a certain issue, you know, whether it's procrastination or whatever it might be, once we identify and become aware of it, that's what eclipses will do, is they'll make us aware of our blind spots. Then we can make adjustments and changes as necessary. So you may want to look around August 11th, Aquarius, at where are your blind spots within relationships or current relationships that you're in, or how you approach relationships. You might get some real insights and have a real opportunity to do something new in that area. So let's take a look at the cards and see what's coming up for Aquarius for August. I also want to mention that we have a lot of planets in retrograde right now. I think there are 5 major planets. I believe it's Saturn, Pluto, Mars, Mercury. I'm not sure which other ones, but there's at least 5 of them. And with the Mercury retrograde in Leo as well, you know, it's saying that things are just being pulled back and slowed down so that we can see them more clearly. You know how if something runs by you or drives by you or goes by you really quickly, it's hard to see it. But if it slows down, you can see a lot more detail. You can identify it better. And right now, there's some opportunities for you, with it happening in your 7th house, opportunities for you to see more detail and have a little bit more clarity in terms of your relationships. So that's a wonderful opportunity for some insight there, Aquarius. Let's see what's coming up in your cards. I also want to mention that Mercury will be going back direct around August 17th and 18th, and Mars will be going back direct towards the end of the month after the 27th. So if things feel like they've been slowed down and like pulled through molasses and like nothing's happening, you can expect things to pick back up. And we have another planet going back direct, you know, in September too. So it's sort of like things are slowing and then they'll pick back up. But right now we're just at the apex of slowing down to process all of this eclipse energy. Let's see what you have. Ooh, Aquarius, this is you. King of Swords in reverse. Usually this is an air sign. You know, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius, because this is your reading, Aquarius. I'm reading this as you. And this is you maybe not feeling on top of your game. Usually King of Swords is an expert. Sometimes this is a lawyer card. You know, someone who is in adherence with the truth. Someone who is very rational and analytical and in control. He's the master of the mental element. That's what that sword is that he's holding. And also the sheaves of wheat represent knowledge. Sometimes I call this, or wisdom, sometimes I call this a King Solomon card. So what is it that you feel like you don't know right now, Aquarius? You know, maybe there's just something where you feel like you can't speak your mind, you can't speak your truth, you don't feel like you know the answer, or you don't feel like you're the expert. There's just something challenging your logical, rational mind. And it might be that there's something that you're grappling with that doesn't have a logical answer. Maybe there's something that you're dealing with right now to do with the heart, where your mind is trying it's best to process it, but it has to do with the water element, with the heart element, and therefore the logical mind can't approach that, or it doesn't know what to do with that. So that could be something that's going on. Let's see what else is coming out. Oh, okay. Ace of Swords, challenging it. There's some truth, Aquarius, that you are not willing to process right now. Not willing to see it. You can see in these cards that King of Swords holds the sword of the truth. And this is the Excalibur sword of the truth. It is truth with a capital T. So there is some element of truth that you are either not recognizing, you're not acknowledging, or you're not saying it. That's what I'm getting for you as your central focus. Normally, Aquarius, you're very clear about speaking logically, pragmatically, rationally. You know, this is a card of speaking honestly about what's true for you. And Ace of Swords is like a clear aha moment. You're having a hard time accessing that clear aha moment. It feels like it's eluding you. You feel like you're going around trying to slice and dice it, and it's still ending up that it's not being processable by your mind, is what I'm seeing right now. Let's see what else comes up. At the root of the situation, okay, Six of Wands, success. It may be something related to your job or your career, your status, or your reputation, how you show up in the world. Like, it may be something that seems very logical, but you're not able to process it. Or there's some truth that you're not seeing. You're not able to identify it, related to your status, your reputation, your career, how you're perceived by others. Let's see what else is coming up. What's passing away is Hangman in reverse. So that's nice. That means that you might get to a place where you're worrying less about what other people think. You're not caring so much about keeping up with the Joneses or accommodating any particular role that's set forth for you. That's going to be passing away. You're going to be more comfortable in your own skin coming up, or being more authentic to who you are, Aquarius, which is nice. Your opportunity is Ten of Cups in reverse. I'll talk more about that in a moment. What's approaching is Page of Cups. That's lovely. That may explain what's going on here. This is all mind-related stuff. Swords represent the air element, which is the mental element, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, beliefs, ideas, anything to do with the mind. Page of Cups is about the heart, and this is a young person. So this is our young heart. And what I always ask is, when I see this Page of Cups cards, can you remember what yes felt like? Can you remember what turned you on as a teenager? Can you remember what made you want to jump for joy or sing or just be infatuated or puppy love? This is what's coming in. And this is an offer of the heart, or it's just acknowledging a feeling, acknowledging your heart. What makes your heart leap? That's what's going to be on your mind coming in. So it kind of makes sense. You know, it's funny. King of Swords super logical, super experienced. Page of Cups is like the childlike heart. So these two sometimes can't reconcile because they're coming from such different places. You might be confused about a love matter here, Aquarius. I'm also seeing that because of Ten of Cups here in reverse. This is the most amount of cups on a card. This is all emotional energy. And it seems like right now it might be drained away for some reason. For some of you, you might be more focused on work than on your relationships. I'm going to look at that more. This is your opportunity card. But it does appear that there might be some issue in head versus heart. So that's kind of what I'm getting so far. Five of Wands in reverse. There may be some strife or competition that you're involved with, that you're trying to get out of. You're trying to avoid the strife. You're trying to avoid the problems. Yeah, I'm seeing you trying to get out of some sort of battle or competition. Your environment is the moon. So there may be some secrets that you are not aware of right now. Alternately, it could be deep-seated emotions of your own that you need to hold up to the light for evaluation to see what's true and what's real versus what's illusion, what's false, what's changeable. You know, I always look at the dog and the wolf here. One is the practical, rational mind. You guys are usually very good at that. That's the dog, you know, left brain stuff. And then the other is right brain stuff. It's the more passionate, illogical, creative, irrational side of us, instinctual. So that might be, you know, in line here, there might be an internal battle between, again, head and heart. Trying to reconcile, okay, if this is what I feel, that's what this crab or lobster represents, is in the water, is all emotional stuff. Letting that up for air. What do I feel deeply? And, you know, what do I think about it and what do I feel about it? What's real? What's false? What's changeable? The reason the moon can sometimes represent secrets or illusions is because it's not actually what it appears to be. The moon appears to give off light, but it's really a reflection of the sun's light. So it changes and it's not constant. So this moon card, I often wonder, like, you know, what's constant, what's reliable, what's changeable, what's illusion, what's fantasy versus what's reality. That might be what you're going through here in August. You know, what is fantasy? What does the teenager believe in terms of love versus what's reality? You know, King of Swords. I know what's real, but with King of Swords in the reverse, he may not recognize what's real. This is the truth right here, staring you in the face. What is this truth, Aquarius, that you may be tangling with? Does it have to do with something regarding the heart? Because I do see that you've got, you know, mind here, and the mind is going like this right now. It's at odds with itself. And then the heart energy coming in saying this, but this is what I feel, but this is how I feel. You know, it's the teenager in us, the adolescent saying, oh, but I feel this, I'm overwhelmed with feeling. And then this environment is one of evaluating what's real and what's not real. There may be some internal conflict, especially also about how you're being perceived in a certain situation. Six of Wands is about perception of your status. And then, you know, Hangman in reverse can sometimes be caring too much about what other people think. But I see that as a passing away energy. Mostly I see you just trying to figure it out internally. Let's see what else is coming up. Your hopes and fears. 7 of Coins in reverse. Some of you don't want to wait any longer for something. You're tired of waiting. But yet you want this harvest. Usually this card is what we most want, but we also most fear. So you really want this thing that you've been putting your time and effort into, but you also, you know, are fearing that you may be waiting forever. So let's take a look and see what else. Your possible outcome, 8 of Swords. Yeah, I see that you might, there may be a way in which you, although you're free, you may become imprisoned in your mind if you keep allowing this internal struggle to continue. You may come to a place where you feel like you're surrounded by your own thoughts and you can't move. Let's see what the bottom of the deck has. Sun. Okay, this is definitely the Leo card, and this is the August card as well, as I'm seeing it. This is what's available to you, Aquarius, and this is your opposite. You know, I often read Sun as Leo, but this is happiness. My question to you is, which one of these outcomes do you want? You kind of have the choice between both. And I'm going to say the difference is, do you follow your mind down this maze and tangle of like not seeing the truth, not knowing the truth, not admitting the truth, trying to figure out things logically, or that this is one option. King of Swords, Ace of Swords challenge card that leads here. This is the outcome if you choose to do this. And this is like where you're at currently. So if you continue with the overthinking, thinking maybe you know it all, when really there's a truth right in front of you that you may or may not see, or an aha moment that's available to you that is eluding you. I mean, you can end up making as many swords as you want. You can fill a whole field with that. That's one option. However, if you can change your focus to one of the heart, Aquarius, this is a little bit of a challenge or a task because you're an air sign. You operate very easily in the mind. You're comfortable there. This is about receiving the love, you know, being the young teenager. And what do you do with this? What's real and what's not real? What's illusion? What's fantasy? What's reality? You know, you really need to do some evaluation about your deep-seated feelings and allow the rainbow to come in, you know? And so here is the other choice of where you can be, and that ends up here with Sun. You know, the Sun and Moon go together. So especially with all this eclipse energy in your 7th house, you know, I would really suggest and recommend that you take a look, especially around August 11th, because that's when we're going to get this eclipse energy with the Sun. You know, that's when the Moon, the shadow of it comes in front, or it's actually the shadow of the Earth, I believe, that let's see, how does that work? The shadow of maybe the Moon or another planet comes in between the Sun and us, so the shadow of another planet, maybe the Moon, falls in between. But at any rate, your blind spot is going to be illuminated, especially to your perception of relationships. What's real, what's not real? What is something that you can figure out with your mind versus what things are you going to have to approach with your heart in a childlike way, not in a, oh, I know it all. I know all the answers. Why can't I figure out love mathematically? You know, that's kind of what King of Swords tries to do. He usually can come up with an answer, because if it has to do with the mind, he's the guy. But if it doesn't have to do with the mind, you know, being the childlike person of the heart is where you're going to sort of feel and know your way. This could be a challenge for you, Aquarius, but it's really a question of, where do you want to end up? Do you want to end up here, imprisoned by your own mind in August, or do you want to end up here? You know, happy, vibrant, allowing that sunny radiance to shine forth in your relationships because you were willing to do the work of taking a look at what's real versus what's fantasy. Where are the blind spots? Where's the shadow hitting in terms of your 7th house? So, interesting choices here, Aquarius. I really see it as like head versus heart. You may be a little bit in your head right now, and I'm going to invite you to go into your heart, evaluate what's true and real, look at your opportunity of maybe receiving, you know, this could be self-love or love from another. This could be involvement in a relationship, but you kind of have to get real about what you're feeling and what is permanent and real and what is illusion. So that is what I'm seeing, and it can feel like it's conflict. It can feel like you're trying to stay out of conflicts. You're trying to not argue something through, but yet you don't feel like you want to wait for something forever. You do want this prize and this return and this harvest. It tells me you really desperately want it because it's in your hopes and fears placement. It's what you really desire, but you also fear that it may never come. So I'm just going to encourage you, Aquarius, when it comes to a choice between your mind and your heart, this month is a very good month to go with the heart-centered energy. Go with allowing that emotional stuff to bubble up and evaluate it. That's what's really, see if you can try on the outfit of Page of Cups, because that's where you're headed. And I think it can be very beneficial for you. This could be your other potential outcome, or you may need to go in circles in your head a little bit longer. It's really your choice. So that is my reading for you, Aquarius, for August. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up or share it with another Aquarian. And if you'd ever like to book a personal reading with me, you can do that down below. I'll have a link to my website, Readings by Gwendolyn. And as always, I just want to thank everyone so much for watching. Yours in the stars.